Hello, happy Monday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Yesterday was super nice, although I didn't spend much time outside. I was in the studio just playing with paint and a huge canvas. So when I finally decide what it's going to end up being, I will share it with you. But right now it's just, I don't know. It's like almost overwhelming having a huge canvas and knowing really what to paint with it. But what's great about paint is you can go over it and change it, at least acrylic and oils, but not really watercolor. But anyways, welcome to the watercolor class. We're going to get started here in just a minute. We're going to paint donuts. We had a request last week for donuts, and I love donuts, although I haven't had them for probably a couple of years. That's why, because I love them too much. So anyways, we're going to do donuts. I added coffee on there too. It's kind of late for coffee. I wish I could drink coffee right now, but I would be sorry when I went to bed tonight if I was trying to drink coffee. Anyways, be sure and tell me, hang on here, I lost my helper. Sorry. So be sure and tell me hello if you're on here, and I love it when you comment because I like to answer you or talk back to you. Not talk back to you, but respond to you. And anyways, so be sure you say hello, and also be sure you share the video with anybody else that you think might be interested in having some painting classes. Just something for their kids to do during this time while we're home. Is anybody affected by the stricter lockdown since, I guess, midnight last night? I don't know. It hasn't. I don't know that it'll be any different for us. So far, my husband's still working. So thankful for that. So he still can go to work, and I still plan on going to do my Tuesday morning grocery shopping. I hope there's the things that I need when I go. But anyways, so we are going to get started. I'm going to switch over to my seat, and we are going to paint some donuts. A coffee cup if you want to, and so we'll get started.
I'll get your thing.
Oh yes, make sure it goes down. Thank you, Kaden. Let's move that. Hi, JC and Kenzie. Hey, we got some new ones on here. All right. Thanks for responding. Let me get this camera down so you guys can see me, what I'm doing here. Okay. Let me get my mouth away from the phone so I'm not super. Hey, Lisa, welcome. You guys are going to have fun. This is going to be fun. So, thanks for saying hi. Okay, so I have normally, so we're just using heavy paper. You don't need a pad. This is a bigger pad than what we started with. I just ran out of the smaller sheets, so I'm just grabbing out of the studio what I have for now because I haven't done any art shopping. Probably a good thing. This has been kind of not really challenging. It's been good for me. I love buying art supplies. I tell you what, that's like my favorite thing to do. But anyway, so I've just been grabbing what I have. So this is probably a bigger piece of paper than what you guys have. But it's a little bit heavier. I recommend going with a heavier paper. Cardstock works or whatever. If you do not have heavier paper, do not let that deter you from doing this. The only reason we do heavy paper is because we use a Sharpie to draw with. And if you don't have a Sharpie, that's okay too. But the reason I draw with a Sharpie, back when I started my business back in 2011, I just taught kids art in my basement. And I started kids, teaching them how to draw at almost 4 years old. My intention was to start them when they were 4, but Kaden was not quite 4, and I had another little girl that I babysat that wasn't, no, Bailey was older than you. But another little girl came, and it was right before her 4th birthday. And so starting kids off with a Sharpie and the reason I do this is because you don't want to think erasing is a go-to all the time. And so when you start the little ones off with just a Sharpie, and you grown-ups, this is good for you too. Just being able to learn to go with what you have and just keep drawing really builds up your confidence. I didn't ever want the little ones to learn, oh, this isn't right, this isn't good enough, this doesn't look right. So that's why we use a Sharpie. The other reason I use a Sharpie is because when you watercolor with a Sharpie, it doesn't bleed, it doesn't get wet, and it doesn't smear. So, and if you know how Sharpies are, hello Tara, Sharpies also will bleed through paper, and that's another reason why I get heavy paper. If you have, if your kids, or if you kids are on here without your mom around or your dad around or whoever, if you have, if you're just using like copy paper, like you would put in a copy machine, and you got it on the dining room table, put something underneath it, because that Sharpie will bleed through the paper and it'll make marks on the table. Just saying. I don't want you saying, well, the art teacher said, I don't want to get in trouble. So anyways, make sure that you have something under your paper if it's thin. Even a little bit thicker paper will still bleed. I bought a pad of multi-purpose paper at Dollar General the other day, which they said it was good for a wet and dry artwork. It's not good for wet. It bleeds through. See, there's the back side of our princesses. So you can see that it looks just as almost as bright on the back side as the other. So it's important to put some, so I stick a piece of paper in between it when I'm practicing, figuring out what we're gonna do. All right, so enough talking. The paints that I use are almost gone. I gotta go up and pick up more up at the school. I got the okay to go up there and get some of my personal supplies I'd taken up there. So these are the watercolors that I've been using for this. They're nothing fancy. The ones that I get is a watercolor mixing set. It's different than the traditional Crayola watercolors that you just get in all the stores. The only reason it's different is these do not have, and you probably can't tell real well because they've been used so much, there is no green. These were both yellow. Normally these are both yellow. They're just been mixed so much that they look green. There's no green in it. So it's violet, a red orange, two yellows that are both the same, this turquoise color blue, a blue violet, which is almost a purple, and a black and a white. That's a mixing set. If you don't have this, you don't need, all right, Tara, we'll see you after a while. I'll have it on. So if you don't have a mixing set, that's another thing. You don't have to have it. Just use what you have. Caden just has a 16 pan color thing, and I don't even know what brand it is. But I do like these watercolor because they're so thick and vibrant. So it's great for good bright colors. All right, enough talking. We're gonna get started. Okay, so we're gonna do donuts. So we can do two different ways to do the donuts. You can make them, we can pretend like our paper's like a donut box, and we're looking in the donuts, and we just brought home maybe a half dozen donuts. Do you kids know what a half dozen is? Or a dozen donuts. Do you guys know how many that is? That's your question for today. If you kids know, you tell me. So if you do a half dozen, how many donuts are you gonna have in your box? Don't tell them, Caden. Or if you're gonna do a dozen, how many are you gonna have in your box? My paper's bigger. I could put in a dozen and it would fit well. We kind of want to make them life size. So if your paper's smaller, maybe just a half dozen. The other way we can do this is we can stack them. So, trying to think which would be, I think I will show you the donuts, and then while you're drawing those, I will put it aside. I'll draw mine pretty quick before we paint, and then I'll show you how to draw a stack of donuts. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to do both without making you wait around too long. Let's just start with looking down at the bottom. Okay, this is the simpler. So I'm gonna do a dozen donuts. So I want to kind of divide it up in my mind. Remember, we always find the middle, so I think about the halfway. If I cut my box of donuts in half, I'm gonna have the line right across the middle. Okay, so I can put my half dozen on this time. Okay, JC says 6 and a half dozen. Kinsey says 12 and a dozen. Good job. All right, so we got the answer. So I'm gonna put 12 on my paper. I may not get them all painted. I just wanted a lot of variety. So I'm going to do rows, 4 rows of 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so I want to make sure that I fit them in here right. So I want to make sure that I know where the middle of my paper is. And I want a donut in the middle because I'm going to have one on each side. They don't have to be perfectly round circles. If you just think you were putting a big old donut on your plate this morning, you want to make sure that's the size that you make it, okay? I gauged in my head, just kind of looking at it. I know I can put a donut on each side. I know I can put them along here.
Can I make them any way I want?
You can make them any way you want. All right, so we're just gonna get going here. This is my dozen donuts. This is gonna make me wanna go buy donuts for breakfast tomorrow. And then I'll feel yucky all day and I'll say, why did I do that? Story of my life. That's what happened when I bought ice cream the other day. Now they can touch if you want them to touch. Depends on how much room you have. But the funnest part of this is just going to be putting the icing on them. Or making them whatever kind of donuts you want.
What are those long donuts?
Long johns? Yep,
Yeah.
you can make long johns. If you're on here, say hello. I got a lot of people I see watching. Make sure you say hello. Even if you're not painting, I'd love to just get a shout out. It helps Facebook know that this might be something that other people might see, and so it'll show my video to more people. So make sure you say hello this morning. It's kind of looks like it's cold outside. It's not really that bad out, but it's just dreary here today. Tomorrow though, we're supposed to be almost to 80. I can't wait. Kaden and I are gonna go out. Uh-oh, my donut got squished up against the side of the box. We're gonna go outside and have a picnic lunch. I think I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get some lemon juice and spray it in my hair like the old days. Not really. Today was supposed to be my hair color day, and I have to wait a whole nother month, so I don't know. It was supposed to be nails and hair day. I kind of didn't space my donuts very well. Okay, Kaden's got long johns. I love long johns. Before I start painting them, let me just show you in my other pad. If you want to do, hi Amanda from Elliot and Amanda. Hello.
I have 11 donuts.
You got 11 donuts? Okay, let me show you in this one. This is another way I would have liked to do it, and with a coffee cup. So if you want to do it this way. All right, so I'm gonna do a stack of donuts. I'm gonna do a coffee cup. Here's my coffee cup. It's just got water in it though. As much as I'd like to drink coffee right now, it says thankful for friends. My best friend from high school gave me this cup a few years ago. She lives in Indiana. So anyways, hey Tori and Livy. Hello, welcome. Okay, so let me start with this. We're gonna do the stacked donuts really quick. So the angle of these are gonna be kind of tilted towards us. So we're going to make, so I have like a parentheses. What, Ben?
I think I'm going to do the angle donuts.
You use another piece of paper?
Yeah.
Okay, you mean the ones stacked?
Yeah, stacked.
Okay. All right. So I did the parentheses for this. Okay, sorry. And then I'm going to make the curve down and connect that, okay? Now, I'm not gonna do anything yet on top of this. I'm gonna do parentheses again. And if it's a good donut place, all the donuts will probably be pretty close, the same size. So they shouldn't get smaller. Not like that toy, the stacking toy. Okay, so there's 2, and we'll add icing and stuff to it. Okay, another parentheses. Which one are you all doing? Are you going to do the stacked, or are you going to do the box of donuts? You probably already started on the box, but this will give you something to do later if you want. Okay, how many can I make? And the only reason I'm doing it to the left over here is because I'm going to draw my coffee cup over here. If you weren't doing a coffee cup, but you were just drawing it, you could put it this way, right up the middle, and you could just keep going and going and going with all this stack of donuts, this stack goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here because now I want to make my curve up about the same as my curve down. So now I'll start with the frosting of the top one. Okay, so it's just like running off that yummy, sticky, sugary frosting, and try to make all these little frosting runs a little bit different so they're not all the same. If it was, I don't know, donuts, what's the ones that are totally, they don't have a hole in the middle? A cream puff, it's not a cream puff, but they have pudding or jelly or something inside of them.
You know why the donuts were, because they could never cook the inside of a donut, so they made a hole and so they could cook them.
That's why donuts have a hole in it, because they wouldn't get cooked all the way in the middle?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Did you guys know that? That's a cool fact. Okay, so now I'm gonna make a little oval right in here. Now, when we watercolor, when we paint this, we'll be able to make that look kind of shaded, so it looks like you're looking down inside your donut. All right, so now I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna add the frosting that I want on all of these donuts, all around. So this, there, I left a little bit of a gap, so that kind of helps shape my frosting a little bit. On the ones that I just drew like this, I'll show you in case you're doing that. Some of them you can have the frosting go all the way to the edge, and some of them you can just make, you know, so it's not quite going to the edge. So now I'm just doing little bends going all the way around. So then some of the donut shows and then the frosting shows on the top. You can make it more extreme by just making, just doing little curves off in random places, so then that frosting's really going off the side. You can make it going off the middle, off where the donut's shown a little bit around the hole, okay? So that's some ways, so you can, so if you're working on these donuts, that's how you could do the frosting. They can just be really random. Frosting just kind of goes wherever. So if you're doing that, that's what you got to do for
Look
these.
at my sprinkles for my donuts.
Yeah, sprinkles. Yep, we're going to do sprinkles.
I think I'm gonna
Okay,
paint
so let me
this.
come back and finish these here. Sorry, I got two drawings going on at once here. The one on the dozen donuts is the one I'm going to watercolor. But I just wanted to show you how, because this paper is too thin for watercolor. But I wanted to show you this really quick. While you're working on getting all your donuts drawn on this one. So then, do you remember if you did the cupcakes with us? Maybe some of you didn't do the cupcakes, but we did like little rectangles or long skinny rectangles. These would be sprinkles, like and make them really random, go in different directions. So when you watercolor, you have to use a little teeny brush to get in those without getting it too crazy. But those would be our sprinkles. You can do, you can just do circles.
Mom, look at my donut.
Yes, and you got your coffee cup. Good job, Kaden. So there's all kinds of ways. I'm looking at a picture. Okay, so here, you could drizzle other frosting across the top of it. Be a drizzle of another kind of frosting going across, zigzagging across it. Let's see what else we can do here. Get some frosting on this one. Let's see. just they could just be a plain glazed donut without even that. You could just do little dots that you don't really paint in, or they're just really small, sprinkles all over. Make like a blueberry cake donut, so you would just have bigger circles and you wouldn't have the frosting. We'll just paint it to where it looks like it's like blueberries and glaze over it. Best we can with watercolor. This is where I'm not as proficient in watercolor as I would be with acrylic. But, so I'm doing the little curves around the middle because I'm trying to look down into the hole, and that's where the glaze or the frosting's going down here. Run them down the sides. What's your favorite kind of donut? Does anybody have a favorite?
Glazed.
Glazed. Yeah, those are good. Okay, so while you're working on those, I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to make my coffee mug and then we'll paint. It's a big coffee mug. My bad thing about it that big is coffee gets cold fast in it. Okay, so when you do a coffee mug, whatever shape you want, I do the sides first. Yes, you got a donut on your coffee mug. Do your sides first, trying to keep both sides close to the same curve and angle. Doesn't always happen for me on the first time, especially if I'm not sitting directly on. So Bavarian cream long john is Elliot's favorite. Yum, that sounds delicious. Man, we might have to quit talking about donuts. Man, they sound so good right now. Okay. Just a small curve on the bottom. You don't want, unless you're really looking down in your cup, you don't want it to curve down too far. I'm going to keep this simple. Make sure, so when you do the bottom curve, the most important thing is your top curve has to match the bend of your bottom curve. Otherwise your cup will look kind of funny. Okay, and then you're going to match, if you mirrored that, you want to keep it really narrow. Okay. This shape right here is called an ellipse. So if you looked across your cup or a can of water, is what we use to clean our brushes, and you would see that circle shape, and it would be, this is an ellipse is what that's called. Now you can put your handle on. Now we could get really fancy with where the handle was at and have it show, but I'm putting it directly on the side. That way it's kind of easy. And then I'm going to write thankful. I don't think I'm going to have room. That's all right. It went off the edge. And the Sharpie really bleeds on this. Okay, so we're going to put that aside. So if you do a coffee mug, you can write whatever you want on it, or Caden drew a donut on his. Okay, so now we're going to watercolor. Let me draw a few more. Let me go ahead and get frosting on
Mom,
these.
I have a donut coaster.
A donut coaster? All right. Yeah, that's a good idea. So if you're doing stacked donuts, we definitely need a shadow or something, even if you put a coaster, or you need a shadow under it. Otherwise they look like they're floating. And even with these, I'm going to show you how to kind of make them look like they're actually in a box. If you're watching and you haven't said hello, I'd love to hear from you. Again, I'm sorry I repeat this a lot. It helps Facebook know that this is a video that people would enjoy, so Facebook will show it to more people. So just say hello, even if you're not painting. I appreciate it too. Sharing it helps. You guys have been great. This is, we're on video number 14 for watercolor. Can you believe it? So if this is your first time Who was it that said that was their first time? Missy, or Lisa. If this is your first time, go back and you can watch all of my videos. So they're on under the video section. You'll find them. So you can just do them whenever you want. All these watercolor ones will be on here. Did any of you guys see the acrylic painting I did on Saturday morning? The little lemon sprig tree branch thing? That was so much fun. Acrylic is what I teach all the time. Watercolor is just
Look at my
something
shadow.
I love to play with. Yes, good job. Okay, I'm gonna stop with 7 donuts. That way you guys aren't gonna be waiting for me for days to paint. Okay, so donuts. Let's get, actually, I want some, I have that one without any. This is just gonna be a strawberry frosting. That sounds really good. So if you're using watercolors in these cake type pans, watercolor, you want to get really bold colors, you want to make sure you get the cake things really, really wet inside of these little pans. So I take a minute and I just get the water in there and I just keep stirring that to loosen up that, get that. Whoops, I knew I was going to do that. I just dipped my brush in my water. I knew it. I will not drink it. Okay. I knew that was going to happen. Out in the studio, I have 2 coffee cups. One says paint water and the other one says not paint water. Not that that helps, but that's kind of funny. Okay, so I want strawberry. Whoops, and I dripped it. I'm dripping paint all over the place. I'm off to a good start today. I want strawberry frosting on this one. Okay, so this is just my red violet color, so it's really, really bright. But I want to make it more of a strawberry color, icing color. So I'm coming over here to my white paint, which has a little black in it, but it's what it is. You can clean those out, but they're almost gone. So when you clean them, you lose paint. But anyways, this will lighten up my pink to be a pinker, softer pink. But also, you can also do just less water on your brush to, or less paint and more water on your brush
Look at my
to get a little bit
donuts.
lighter color. Yes, Kaden.
So many.
If you want places, so if you want your icing to have a little bit of a glaze look, if you leave places that aren't painted, it makes it look like there's highlights in your icing. And so that is a technique too to kind of give for watercolor. You don't have to paint every bit of it.
Look at my bottom of my donuts.
If we were, if we had drawn with a pencil, a really light pencil, then you wouldn't even see all the Sharpie marks. So those are some things you guys can try again if you want to do stuff again, where your paints will just show to look a little bit more realistic. Okay, so I kind of am going all over the place with this, but I'm going to soften it out with my white over here. Whoops, chunk of paint on here. One of my favorite things about how watercolors do is when they blend in with each other. When you get it wet and the 2 colors or shades touch. So I think my favorite donut is the caramel, or I don't even know what it's called, Long John with the caramel icing. That's like my favorite. pink darker around the edges where my frosting goes down, because that's where it's going to be a little bit more shadowed. So I'm bringing that pink down darker along the edges, because that's going down beside my donuts, and the same for the middle. Alright, we're gonna let that one dry before I do donut color stuff. I don't want to paint the donuts themselves until I'm ready for that to be dry. Okay, we need a chocolate donut. So, I don't have brown in mine. You got brown in yours, Caden? Did you do brown?
Red and green together usually makes brown.
Yep, it does, Dad, that's right. So does orange and purple. But I don't have red or green in my paint thing, because it's all mixing colors. So if I use orange and purple, or yellow and purple, then I'll make brown. I have to show you some of my dad's watercolors sometime. He used to watercolor all the time. I need to get him doing it. I need to get stuff out for him and get him. He needs to be painting. So I'm using orange and purple because that's the colors that I have that mix. And I want this really dark chocolate. So I'm getting my colors really dark here. So let's see which one. I'm gonna do the one that I did the zigzag.
Look at mine so far.
Yes, Kaden.
I like my tablecloth on my table.
I like it too. Man, I'm splattering paints today. So this is a painting project that you'll want to paint like one part of your donut, whether you're doing just the icing or the donut part, but you'll have to go to another donut and let it dry before you try to do your sprinkles or any kind of decorations on it, because if your paints are wet and you touch it, put another wet paint up beside it, it's gonna blend together. Good job, Kaden.
And that's my glazed donut. Oh, I need to color the inside. I'm gonna make my shadow a little bit.
Purple makes a good shadow. Purple or blue is a good shadow, Kaden. If you guys want something to research, if anybody's using this for extra homeschooling, I guess you guys don't really, unless you're homeschooling all the time, you don't need to turn it into a lesson necessarily. But if you guys look up Wayne Thiebaud, he's an artist that does some really neat donuts and pastries and cakes and pies. Thiebaud, though, his last name is Theibaud. It's French. It looks like Thiebaud. But anyways, Wayne Thiebaud, and you Google up his images, he's got some really neat donuts. And he does, for his shadows on all his cakes and pies and all that, he does purple. His colors are really pretty, really soft. Does a lot of pinks and purples and yellows and pastel colors. I've used him as art lessons in my classes before. Okay, so I'm gonna let my chocolate frosting dry. How about a blueberry donut or blue icing? I guess they kind of come with all kinds. Actually, before I do the blue, I'm going to get my white, even though it's not very clean. And I'm going to just make some white
Mom, look,
with a wet
I
brush.
finished my shadow, so I made the yellow.
You can see the table and stuff through the shadow. Yeah. Good thinking, kiddo. Okay.
And I have my straw.
You have your straw.
Mhm.
And your coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or your smoothie.
And my
Or your chocolate milk.
and my donut.
How about chocolate milk? Chocolate milk, well, I mean, kids might think chocolate milk and donuts go together. I think it would be too much sweetness. And definitely not orange juice and donuts. That doesn't mix.
No.
Plain milk and donuts would be good. Alright, so this is my blueberry.
I made
And
my
just
donut coaster a little bit lighter so it's green.
Your donut coaster.
Mm-hmm. Oh, your donuts look really good. I like your pink one.
You like my pink one?
Mm-hmm.
This is my blueberry glazed frosting, I guess. I don't know. I'm letting some of these lighter shades mix in with my bluer shades. Put just a tad of the purple in through here, just to give now, if you get where you get enough color and you want to just keep it light, you can just paint with water too. Once you get your color on there that you want, and then you can just keep spreading it out with water and it'll keep it really light. This one would be fun to do with acrylic too. The thing I like about acrylics is you can layer your colors. This to me seems backwards. You have to be really, you gotta really think ahead what colors you want and if you need light places, because if you paint it, you can't really undo it. Although a paper towel dabbing at color really helps. But acrylic, once it dries, you can cover it, you can change it as much as you want. It's so forgiving. Alright. There's a blueberry donut. Well, that was a blueberry frosting. Because this one over here is supposed to be a blueberry donut that I dripped pink paint on. Alright, so I'm going to let that one dry. How about a lemon? Some sort of a lemony color. Lemon, I don't know, yellow frosting. I guess you can have whatever frostings you want. My yellow is very, very tinted with other color here. Because I've just let it get messy. Alright, so now I'm going to do yellow. I want it to just have a tad more. No, I didn't really want brown. I'll just go around. I'm going to go all around the edges with a deeper yellow. And then I'm going to let it come lighter as I come towards the middle. So I'm kind of outlining it with a nice darker yellow. And outlining that circle. As soon as this is dry, I'll show you, and we can paint the donut color. This particular painting has just a lot of painting once we've gotten the drawing done, so I don't know that I need to be on here for a real long time, but I will show you once some of these dry. I want to show you that we'll paint the donut, the actual bread part, and then I want to show you just a little bit on around the donuts to make it look like it's kind of in a box. Just because we like to paint every bit of paper, don't we? All right. Okay, there's that yellow one. What other colors? What color donuts are you guys doing? What about some green? Let's see if I have anywhere to mix green. I'm going to use this little empty thing. I would do white, but my white is so... Let me try it. I'm gonna just... My white is like a grayish purple color. I want to make it look like it's glazed. Like this is just a glazed donut. So I didn't do any frosting on it. But I'm just painting it with my little bit muddy grayish purple white. Dog is looking in the window right here. If I move my camera, I would let you see him. He started to jump up. Like, hey, guys, I'm out here. Is somebody gonna come play with me? Alright, I'm gonna take a little orangey color. See if this makes it look like it would be glazed. Oh, it's too brown. And that's too orange. Maybe we'll take a little yellow through here. No, it's too yellow. I don't know. Whatever. Like I said, this is something I play with. I'm not real fluent in watercolor. It's not like you can just change them, but you can do this. So that's like way too yellow to me. So I'm going to take my paper towel. And I'm going to just dab up some of that. And I kind of like that look, because to me that does kind of look like it's glazed a little bit. Okay, my paint's still not dry yet. I don't want to go to anything that's not dry. That's why I haven't done any sprinkles, or all these are wet. So I guess I'll just keep painting until I get one of them that's dry. I do have the hairdryer over there though. Let's see, I'm looking at pictures. So, I guess I did holes on all of them. They didn't all have to have holes. I want another strawberry one. Where's my marker at? There it is. Let's do a little bit different shade of... doing a really dark pink all the way around the edge of this one. All the way around. And then I'm just going to rinse my brush and then just paint with water in the middle. So it pulls those colors in together. And it keeps it lighter in the middle. you don't paint makes it look like it's getting some light on it. So I'm gonna leave that little white area, little white spot. Okay, let's see, I'm gonna turn this around. What else can we do? Let's see, we're just doing donuts. All right, yeah, this is fun. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, I have fun doing this. So I'm glad you came, and I hope to see you back for more. It is, it's such a, I don't know, it's just relaxing to paint. It's just fun to try new things. Okay, let's see, let's do, I am looking at a picture that I saved off of Pinterest of donuts, and so I'm just trying to get some ideas off of that. Let's do, I'm going to take purple around the edge of this one. All the way around. I like that pink one that I just did. I like just doing the edge with a really bright, really saturated color, and then doing the water in the middle and just kind of letting it pull in. This has got little itty bitty circles. I'm not going to worry about if my paint goes over top of those. All right, now I'm going to use water in the middle for this. Now, I like how it keeps it. This is a good way to make it look like it's shadowed as it goes around down the side of your donut. Also makes your paint look more like a glazed, thinner paint. It's almost too much water. It's going to run off the bottom side of my my paper here. Yeah, I think that's my favorite way to do it. Just doing the edge in the middle with your paint and then letting that come in. Trying to think what colors to look. I mean, you don't have to, you don't think you have to make a pattern. Do not think you have to make a pattern when it comes to making sure that they're like this color here, this color here. Just, go random. I know that when they fill up that donut box, they're just sticking them in there. So I don't think it has to be. I do another chocolate donut. We need chocolate. So I'm making my brown again with orange and purple. So if you don't ever have brown, those are the colors that make good brown. And I'm just going to make this donut right here. Actually, I'll just go right on my canvas. I'm used to canvases. Right on my paper with both colors, so I don't have to keep mixing it together. This is the one that went off the side because I didn't space them very well. I put orange over top of my purple, or purple over top of my orange, and then that's where I get my brown. I'm going to just let this. So when we actually do our, now this looks like just a plain donut without anything on it. So when we do, let's see what happens if I just put a little bit of yellow in it. Yeah, that's looking more like a donut. Like if we do donuts, so when we do the bread part, so you can do some brown with a little bit of yellow in it. So see how that one definitely looks, because I got the really dark edges and dark middle. That makes it look like you're looking down, like it looks round. It gives the 3D look. And that I like that color for that bread. That looks like a donut, like I said, with no frosting on it. I think that's what this poor little donut over here needs. It needs an edge to give that depth. That's why that one looks so funny. I'm gonna come over and do this one again. That's another thing. You can go over watercolor too. You can change things a little bit. You can't go really lighter very well, but you can go back and add color, especially if it fades out more than you want. Now I'm going to take my water, and I think I fixed that little donut. That one just looked kind of odd sitting there. My pink is still wet. I just used a lot of paint there. But I like that donut. I really do. I liked how that turned out. When it dries completely, I could take some dark brown, you know, like drizzle like chocolate going across it if I wanted to. So that's some things I can do with that one. What other color? Let's do kind of an orange donut. If I can get a decent orange here that's not all. Is this like an orange flavor? Do they have orange flavored donuts? My orange looks kind of muddy. You guys still hanging? We getting going too long here? how long have we been on here? We're going on 52 minutes. Let me show you. I don't know, this one might just have to be a longer video. I just want to show you, like, in the box we can make this look shadowed too. Hang on. Let me get this one done and then I'll show you around. Whoops, that's not the color I wanted. Maybe this is a caramel one. Caramel with sprinkles. I don't know what. I guess you could sprinkle nuts on it. That would be good. That's a grown-up thing. You kids may not like nuts. See any kids like nuts on your donuts? I just like caramel. I guess this is a caramel donut. That's what it's going to be. So I'm just painting with my water in between so it keeps it lighter towards the top. Man, this day makes me feel like it should be a nap day. This weather needs some sunshine. We already have so little things to do. Having cloudy days just makes it harder to want to be motivated. I do have some painting projects though that I need to work on. Got some people ordering some more porch signs if anybody else wants any. I have my spring porch signs that I'm painting and personalizing if you want. They're $50. So if you want one, I can deliver them to your porch. You just tell me what you want on them. What you want them to say. I have 3 different ones. They're so cute. And they're so much fun to paint too. So anyways, I got a couple of those to make for some orders. So let me know because I'll be out there making them. And it's always easier to work on a couple of them at the same time. Okay. There's my caramel donut. All right, let's look really quick on, so if we want it to look like it's a box, I'm gonna get my Sharpie out really quick. If you have any corners left, I'm only gonna do 2 sides for this because we're just gonna, these 2 sides of donuts go all the way to the side. That probably went in too far. Okay, so I just wanna do a straight line right across There, and I did an angle in from that corner because I have space here. If you don't have any space, don't do this edge, but I just wanted to make it look like they're sitting and you're looking down in a donut box. Okay, my corner didn't quite meet up, but that's okay. Okay, so there's looking in my box. Now, my box is going to be brown, and everything deeper, everything farther down in the bottom is going to be darker. So I'm going to take my purple here. And I'm just going to go right over that line that I just painted. I'm going to take purple, maybe some orange, so then it looks brown. I'm going right on that line that I just painted. Okay, now up on the very edge, I'm just doing water, because I want it lighter as it comes away from the bottom edge, where the bottom of that box is. Okay, you can add. It's kind of like when we did the shell of the hermit crab. The lines were darker, and I'm painting right over it. I'm letting it go on both sides, because both sides of my corner are going to be a little bit darker than this side. Okay, you can do your little crease a little darker if you want, and then I'm going to go this way, same thing, just take it right over this line. All the way down. I have to clean my paints out after this class. They're all getting mixed up. Okay. Anybody else still here? Anybody still painting? Definitely longer today, but that's all right. Not like we have a whole lot else to do, except maybe take a nap, eat lunch. Okay, so I'm letting that water pull the paint out. So there's the edges of my box. So now I want to go around each of my donuts, and I'll do just this one that's not even painted. This is where I do want to stay on the outside edge of this, but a fairly narrow. Now you can use purple for your shadows if you want. You don't have to use brown, just to outline it a little bit. I'll go around my pink one. I think it's dry enough. You could do purple. Purple makes a great shadow. It's not, in our minds, a lot of times our minds tell us that shadows are black or gray. But when you're painting, you can use color for them. You don't have to follow the rules of your mind. Okay, so I outlined them. Okay, so I don't want to leave it like that, really. I want to get my water now. I'm going to paint with my water. And I'm going to just be careful you don't let it get too wet to where your water starts running into your donuts. I want to keep it fairly light because my box is not dark. My box is light. If you get too much paint out in it, if you get too much paint, remember you can use your paper towel to absorb some of it up. Now this is going to work better if you have all of your donuts outlined, not just a couple of them. Let's see if I can go on and get all around these 4 right here, so you can get an idea. Okay. Mostly white in the middle, or clear water, so it stays light. Okay, so it gives the shadow in between. Down at the edges of the donuts, cast a little bit of a shadow because they're curved. And then the middle part is more white. And if it gets too much water or too dark, you can absorb some of it right in that middle. And that'll help keep that center a little lighter. Oops, I just put my arm in my paint. Story of my life. When you use purple for your shadow, it almost like it's painting the black color. Okay, so it'll look really cool once you get all of it. Once it's dry, you can go through, so I like this color. So your donut, actual donut color should be kind of a yellowy brown color. I think I can paint. And again, if you want to keep the very edges, the farthest down part, I'm going to touch that purple. Maybe that wasn't a good idea, because it's going to bleed into my box. So I'm just doing the edge. Oh, you know what? We need, so inside the circles of our donuts, those need to be really dark, because those aren't, there's hardly any space in there to really see much in there. Yeah, my donuts are just bleeding right into my box, because I did wet paint up against wet paint. This is what happens. This is why a hair dryer would be great if you want to speed up the process. I could have grabbed it, went and dried this, but anyways, I'm going to sign off here in just a minute as soon as I get this one done. So there's all my donut. So then in the very middle of this, I want to keep it dark. So I'm just going to put the purple down in the center of my hole of my donut. Okay. So anyways, you guys love it. Dylan was so excited to see donuts, cats, and Dairy Garden, Fairy Garden on the schedule. Good. Oh, that is a nice break from school. I know they need breaks because it gets to be a lot. So anyways, thank you, Jennifer, for telling me that. Dylan, I hope you enjoy painting the donuts, and I can't wait to do a fairy garden. We're going to have a fairy sitting on a mushroom, and then we'll just do some stuff around it. I just think it'll be fun. I love you guys' creativity, and I can't wait to do it with you all. So anyways, there are our donuts for the day. When you guys are done, please add them in the comments, the pictures of them. I love seeing what you guys have done. It's so much fun to see that. Thank you for hanging out. I know this one was just a little bit longer. We should have maybe just done a half dozen donuts, or I should have. But anyways, I know you guys enjoy it and take your time with it. Whatever you guys come up with, I want to see. So anyways, we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is a frog. I think we're going to do a frog tomorrow. That will be fun. So anyways, have a great afternoon. We're going to get out and do some walking, even though it looks like it's cold. I don't think it is. So anyways, we'll see you soon. Thanks for hanging out.